While riding in a car, Conan noticed something strange. Although it looked like an ordinary mountain road, the police had set up an unusually strict checkpoint at the entrance. After asking around, Kagoro finally found out the reason. It turns out that 4 years ago a female street racer appeared here. Every time she drove, a mysterious scream would echo through the mountain. But what was even more terrifying, anyone who encountered this so-called White Witch would always end up in a deadly crash. Now rumors say the White Witch has returned, and this time the police are determined to capture her. At first Kagoro didn't take it seriously. He just drove straight onto the mountain road. But after driving for a short while, a chilling scream suddenly came from behind. Then a white sports car shot out of the fog and quickly pulled ahead of Kagoro's car. While he was still confused, a strange hand signal appeared from the car window. The moment he saw it, Kagoro got furious. He slammed on the gas, ready to race head to head, but as the white car sped ahead, it suddenly disappeared around a bend. When it appeared again, Kagoro only saw the taillights turning left, so naturally he prepared to drift and follow. But right then, Conan suddenly yanked the handbrake. That's when Kagoro realized, if they had turned left, the car would have gone off the cliff. But here's the problem. Kagoro clearly saw the other car turn left, yet there was no road to the left at all. Rand finally recovered from the shock and suggested this could be the witch's trap, which explains why every racer who chased her ended in disaster. This line sparked a thought in Conan's mind. Remembered the hand came out of the car's left window, but in Japan sports cars have right-hand steering wheels. There had to be at least 2 people working together. Kagoro immediately called an officer at the foot of the mountain and ordered him to intercept a white sports car with multiple people inside. Then he turned the car around and rushed down the hill. When they arrived, they found Officer Cho had stopped 3 sports cars. The first group to be questioned was a man named Zhuang and his friend Ko. They claimed they drove the white sports car to honor the White Witch. In their trunk was a set of fishing gear, and Zhuang had a ring on his finger with a fresh scratch on his face. Zhuang explained the scratch, saying it happened while putting on his seatbelt. Next were Tsuehua and the short-haired girl. Their car had a set of golf clubs, and the short-haired girl had a broken nail. When asked about it, she claimed she chipped it while shifting gears. The last group was a couple. They said they drove up the mountain just to swim at the top, and sure enough Conan found a swim ring in their car. But oddly, the swim ring had already been inflated. Just as the fat man tried to explain, Kagoro suddenly grabbed his hand. He noticed immediately that this was no woman's hand. With all the evidence in place, Conan still couldn't figure out who the White Witch was, because he couldn't understand how the illusion of a left turn was created in the fog. Later that night, Kagoro got annoyed and insisted on watching TV, because a new song by pop star Yoko was airing. He had no idea that this very moment would give Conan the final clue. The next day Conan suggested they go back to the mountain. As expected, the same scream came from behind, and once again, the White Witch emerged from the fog, racing side by side with Kagoro. But this time, when the tail lights vanished around the bend, Kagoro steered in the opposite direction. The truth was finally revealed. They had used a fishing rod to swing a red glowing object toward the left, creating the illusion of a left turn in the fog, and the White Witch was actually Zhuang and Ko from the first group. Zhuang claimed he scratched his face with a seatbelt, but the scratch was on the right side of his face, which could only happen if he was in the driver's seat, so the hand that reached out of the passenger side must have belonged to Ko. With her slender arm, it was easy to mistake her for a woman. Realizing their trick was exposed, Zhuang and Ko ditched the rods and tried to flee, but after a short chase, just when they thought they had escaped, the police blocked their path, because Kagoro had already arranged the trap. With no way out, Zhuang and Ko finally confessed their motive. They weren't doing this for fun. They wanted to destroy every street racer's car, because years ago, their younger brother died in a street race. Since then they swore to eliminate all racers. But sadly, they weren't the real White Witch. Hearing this, Officer Cho immediately called for reinforcements. But just then, Zhuang and Ko suddenly stepped on the gas and took off. Everyone was shocked, but in the next moment, a shadow of a sports car chased after them. Meanwhile, the 2 fugitives were still planning their escape, until they heard it, a woman's scream echoing from the fog behind. Zhuang realized in horror that the one chasing them might actually be the true White Witch. Moments later a red sports car caught up. As the window rolled down, they saw the faces of Officer Sato and Yumi, and just like that, the 2 were arrested. Later Yumi explained everything to Kagoro. 4 years ago, the real White Witch was none other than Officer Sato. She scratched the car paint back then, and had it repainted from white to red. As for the screams people heard, that was just Sato shouting during every drift. To calm her nerves and focus on the turn, woman claimed she was Conan's mother, and insisted on taking him home. Without hesitation Conan agreed, and got straight into the fat woman's small car, because it was the only way to uncover her true motive. But before Conan could even speak, the woman blurted out Conan's real name, Kudo Shinichi. Conan's brain practically exploded, because only a few people knew his real identity. Besides Professor Agasa, the only others were the Black Organization. Before Conan could think further, the woman suddenly pointed a gun at his forehead. Thinking quickly, Conan slammed the gas pedal and sped off. then escaped in the chaos. Walking down the road, Conan thought to himself, maybe it was when he tried to show off and solved cases using the name Shinichi that the black organization realized he was still alive. Now he definitely couldn't go back to the Mori Detective Agency. The only person he could rely on was the old man, Professor Agasa. But just as he got back home, the fat woman suddenly appeared behind Conan and knocked him out cold with a drug. When Conan woke up, he found himself locked in an attic. Peeking through the crack of the door, he saw a mysterious man standing next to the fat woman. The man refused to believe Conan was really Shinichi, but ever since Kudo Shinichi disappeared, this kid suddenly started living with the Mori family, and death followed him wherever he went. Maybe he really had taken that secret drug, the one the organization was developing, that could shrink the human body. To prove his theory, the man planned to trade the drug tomorrow. If the buyer also shrank after taking it, then Conan must be Shinichi, and once confirmed, they'd get rid of him for good. Night soon fell. The two were already asleep, so Conan broke a wine bottle, used the shards to cut the ropes. When he got to the window, he realized how high it was. Jumping meant certain death. The only possible hiding spot was the nearby fridge. The next morning when the two woke up, they realized Conan had vanished. The only way out was through the window, but one look outside, and the man ruled it out. Because the snow below had no footprints, that kid was still hiding somewhere inside. He opened the fridge the next second, but it was completely empty. Still, they weren't in a hurry to catch Conan. The drug deal was their top priority. Not long after they left, Conan crawled out from the basement. Turns out when he broke the bottle last night, the wine spilled through the floorboards. That's how he found the hiding spot. After confirming the coast was clear, Conan began searching for poison. He didn't find any, but he did find a torn newspaper in the trash. Several characters had been cut out. Rearranged, they spelled out Baika Grand Hotel. That was most likely the location of the deal. Conan then spotted the number 30 on the calendar. Without delay, he rushed to the hotel. But something strange happened. The receptionist told him there was no room 30 in the entire hotel. Just then, a passerby mentioned the underground parking lot. There happened to be a spot number 30. Conan rushed to the garage, where a large man in a mask was lurking. He glanced at the ground, then turned to leave. Conan hurried over and saw not just the number 30, but also a tiny one next to it. It was room 301. As expected, Conan followed the masked man and saw him unlock the door to room 301. But at that crucial moment, the fat woman appeared from the elevator, forming a perfect pincer attack on Conan. Fortunately, a guest next door happened to open their door. Conan seized the chance and darted inside. After some smooth talking, the kid finally quieted down. Conan then used the room phone and ordered room service to 301. The staff knocked on the door, only to be shoved out by the masked man. But then he noticed something off. A piece of gum stuck near the door lock. It didn't take a genius to figure it out. Conan had snuck in with the food cart. The fat woman lifted the tablecloth instantly, but Conan wasn't under it. The masked man got it right away. The cart was just a distraction. The kid must be hiding inside the cabinet. Faced with a loaded gun, Conan had only one option, the tranquilizer dart. But just his luck, the masked man had already broken it. Now Conan was truly out of options. All he could do was watch himself get shot. Turns out the two were actually Conan's parents, and the large masked man was Professor Agasa. They had heard what their son had been through, and flew back to see him in secret. But a normal reunion was too boring. What's the point of having a son if you can't toy with him? Everything Conan did went exactly as his father predicted. The bottle and the clues were all part of the setup. They had come to take Conan abroad. With help from the police, they could probably find the antidote. But Conan turned down the offer without a second thought, because if he left with them, how could he ever live under the same roof with Ran again?